Bottle, 2 Jews, 2 mics, 2 hours, starting now.
Wow. Hey, maybe things are better without me doing a running monologue during it.
Well, everything's better without you doing a running monologue during it.
It's too early in the show. That's before I've set my actual ego. You got me in the first 2 seconds of it.
Use a coaster when you set your ego.
Oh, are you going to have a whole range of things like that? Chew your food. That's only another one I could think of.
Yeah. Phrases, you mean?
Well, Josh-isms. Don't take that as me being
hostile.
Weird with what? No, it's not. It's not hostile to a Jew.
It felt hostile towards me.
Oh! I guess you're having a good morning. Great, Josh. We really care what kind of morning you're having.
Your body language says, "I'm not ready for this yet."
No, I'm not. Can I tell you what happened? Or
no.
I
just get ready. Just get ready.
No. I promise to make it brief. It was around 7:30 this morning. I couldn't sleep last night, so I got up around 6:30, and I was like, "Oh God!" And then I had a little this, and I had a little.
You already did. You already pulled the Kindler when you went. It was 7:30, and then because I got up at 6:30, and then I looked at the clock. It was 5:30, and then this is going
right.
down.
Well, I'm not going to argue that I don't lie, but 6:30 is when I did wake up,
okay.
And I was just feeling so comfortable. I said, I really think I can go back to sleep now. I really do. And then I did. But then I forgot. When I said I'm going to go back to sleep, I forgot there was a 10 o'clock show. I swear to God.
Right.
I was thinking this whole thing, what a life, what a lucky life I have.
You were thinking you could hibernate till spring.
I didn't even know what my next obligation was. It didn't seem like I have obligations.
Seems like it's in Texas, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't get that joke. Texas.
That's your next obligation. It's not really a joke so much as a fact.
Oh, it's Texas. Oh, I see. Oh.
This isn't going to be a fun hour. I feel it. Everything is misunderstood so far.
I'll tell you why it might not be a bad hour.
Okay.
As opposed to you saying it will be a bad hour. It will be a bad hour. Oh, yeah. You're right there. Because I feel like I'm waking up a little bit.
Yeah.
And so.
But does it feel like?
I don't think I'm going to be this guy.
Does it feel like when a foot falls asleep, waking up? Is it like that kind of waking up?
Not that bad.
Okay.
It's not that bad, but what I don't want to be is this in 10 minutes. Woozy. But then we have to schedule for tomorrow morning, and then it'll be worse. We're not doing it, baby. You know why? Because I'm cleared the cobwebs. And I'm ready to go. Okay, let's start.
Okay.
Trump. His pick. How is he doing with his, no, we're not going to do that.
No, you didn't feel it.
All right. I'm very sorry. You look very.
Were you up watching the Kevin Hart Mark Twain Prize Awards? Was that why you couldn't sleep?
I didn't even see it. Why don't you tell me?
I don't think it was actually on. It just occurred last night.
Okay. So it's not on because if you don't record that while it's on, it's not like they run it all weekend,
right?
Or the next week. Kennedy Center Honors. Here's what's decided.
Different. It's the Mark Twain Prize, not the Kennedy Center.
The Mark Twain Prize. If you want to compare the prizes between the Mark Twain Prize and the what is the other one called? The Kennedy Center Honors?
Yes.
I guess it's more insulting the Mark Twain Prize if you don't think the comedian is Mark Twain. Or Mark let me finish. That has a Mark Twain why is Kevin okay, this is going to be an argument that it's just going to make me sound ridiculous, but why is Kevin Hart getting a Mark Twain Prize? Why is Jay Leno getting the Mark Twain Prize? Why have there been so many people who are not like Mark Twain getting the Mark Twain Prize?
Well, I would first of all have to separate.
Argue with that.
I would have to separate Leno from Kevin Hart in this situation. Leno,
I'm sorry.
There's
I
an
apologize.
actual argument for it.
I
Whether
apologize.
or not you want to argue it, it's an older thing. But I can.
Well,
there's
because
an argument
he's a
for
stand-up. He's a stand-up.
He was, he's a stand-up, and he was around for 30 whatever years. And,
right. That's true.
And did have, even if it was a deadening impact on American comedy,
right?
Still an impact.
An impact is an impact, my friend.
But Kevin Hart, I mean, there was a big thing in the Washington Post this week, and it was like on their page all weekend. Is Kevin Hart funny? It was a whole.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that people have already gone past that. He's not. He's an institution more now.
Well, and I think that would be the question about the Mark Twain Prize. Whereas, he is. I mean, I would say, he's almost the biggest star I've seen who's made zero impact.
That's a good point. Because a lot of times you go...
Like, I don't think that there's a cultural impact of Kevin Hart, other than he's everywhere. But that's motivated by the fact that he desires to be everywhere. Yeah.
I think he desires to be... I always wonder with people like that. Is he desire to be everywhere, or he's afraid if he stops moving, he'll...
No, his stated goal is to be a billionaire. And
that's a terrible goal for a comedian.
I would agree, but that's what's motivating. His desire is not to be the funniest. His desire is to win show business.
Well, the same thing when Jim Carrey wrote a check for $100 million to him. So, that story, right?
Yeah,
he wrote a check at $100 million, and
it wasn't
one day.
Yeah.
What was it? $10 million? $10 million.
Whatever. Yeah,
could have been $1 million. But the point was, when that's your goal, that doesn't say anything. Well, don't you care how you're going to get there? Do you have to write the check? I think it's always dangerous when you get either it's not Tony Robbins, but as soon as you apply the way that you're going to use the universe and you're going to manifest it to get stuff going, there's always a dangerous way to talk about it. I'm not saying he's talking about the universe that way, but...
No, I don't even know if it's dangerous, but it's soulless.
It's soulless, yeah. And I can't think... Usually what happens is I do find something about somebody... Well, unless it's somebody I just can't stand. But I find somebody, that part about him is interesting. But I don't get that. I guess he's somewhat charming, maybe. And people used to love his long stories when he was a stand-up. This is all... Not me being facetious, but it's a little bit like, I try to watch him on stage. I always try to figure out what's the hubbub about. There's got to be something. And I may even make the argument, I bet there's something here. And the thing about it is, if I was an acting teacher, I'm not an acting teacher, but if I was directing him, I would say, look, you cannot, there's a law. It's called the second law, Newton's law of dynamics. Okay? You can't stay up here for any period of time without people getting bored about it. Yes. And whether you're trying...
Said Newton.
Yeah. No, it's Newton's... It is Newton's law of dynamics. His thermodynamics,
it's
but still...
Newton's law, actually.
You know who is very good? Here's a good way for the people. My idea of how you can learn new music, get new music into your playlist. First of all, you give up on the whole thing of I'm not going to buy Apple One because artists are not compensated well. So I will affect my own ability to listen to music. I have all these CDs. I'll spend years making them into things, and I'll make my own playlists. That was a bad idea because now I could be watching. What was that show? I just watched a movie, and they had great music all the way through. A good movie, The Covered Room. No, The Crowded Room. Oh, it's very, very good. I saw that. It's very, very good. It's about not Spike Milligan, but that guy Billy Milligan, who was a serial rapist, but actually does, unless you're going to argue no, and some people still might, he does have a very sophisticated multiple personality disorder. They did a thing on Netflix on him, and so what was my point? I had a point going in, right?
You liked the movie about him. That was your point.
Like the movie about him.
Crowded room. There was music. There was music in it.
Yes, thank you. There's music. So, I mean, look at my playlist. I've gotten so many great songs from and if someone is good at picking music, and I wanted your opinion about this, I don't like music. If someone enters a scene and then all of a sudden the music is blaring, you're the greatest, schmack, you're on your way to the top. That's not the way I like music used in movies. I like music used in movies where they pull up, it's in the car, right? You can hear the music on the car. The source is the car. Yeah. And then maybe the song continues on in some kind of interesting way, right? Not like I'm blasting some song that also says the plot a little bit, which I think is always a bad thing. Yeah. Things are getting troubled. Things are getting hurt. There's going to be, I mean, these are not good songs. But I'm saying, I used to do this bit about how, on the Real World, they used to do that MTV music and be like, let's go, I would like to go down, let's get some money from the bank. Get some money from the bank. ATM. They basically had a song where it'd be like a Paul Schaefer thing. Any word that relates to the thing that they're going to do, they'll use the song for that. But that's a bad way to use music. It makes me angry about it.
Yeah, clearly.
And also you're saying, that to me says, we're not paying to have a sound editor who really has I just realized, no, they think that's the way to do it. They think the assaultive style wakes you up or something. Well,
I mean, I think there's different motivations in every case, really.
Well, if it's used for the right reason, then go ahead and do it. But pound it in there.
Right. But sometimes the reason is just bad taste. I mean, that's
right. And I'm actually
sometimes you couldn't get the music you wanted for that scene.
But the other thing is, what I'm saying is that the visuals, maybe because the cameras are so good, they tend to be not as hacky as the use of music. And now, I mean, I'm not saying there's not a sound guy going, that's not the way sound should be, but something they don't care.
Well, it's also. I mean, I think there's a separate issue in terms of the volume, in that when you're making something these days, you have no idea what people are watching it on, and so you have to create a mix that sort of splits the difference between all of these, whether it's someone's phone or a full surround sound home theater system, you have to sort of skirt the line through all that shit to make it audible. Yeah. Which is why, like, half the world watches everything with subtitles on now.
Yeah, there's two things about that. One thing is, somebody might need a hearing aid. Like my father needed one at the end of life. Not the end of life. Hearing aid.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah. And they make these hearing aids now that are supposed to be like great. You don't have to spend billions of dollars for it. I mean, you can get, because I can definitely tell that, it's a dropout. It's a dropout, and I want people to, I don't want to be one of those people.
Right. It can be isolating. Absolutely.
Yes. Especially if you're one of the people, like a lot of the older people go, I don't care. This is fine. I do so hear as well as I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's a strange form of pride, really.
And because I have one of the greatest ears, because I listen to so much, I don't have so much perfect pitch as, well, I don't have perfect pitch.
As great pitch. I don't have one.
Oh, by the way, I think you can get prime beef not cheaper than normal, but now they're saying prime beef. We had steaks from Gelson's to die for, Marble City, and the prime. It works for me, and I know I do not want to alienate our vegan followers, listeners. But man, oh man alive, and Susan makes a great steak. And then the next day what we have, and this is a great story, you might want to jot
salad.
Down.
We had steak salad.
God damn.
See, this thing is, you're saying goddamn, but you're getting good mileage out of it, right?
Yes. No, the goddamn was part of the bit.
Yeah, goddamn you. it's so funny because you really have nailed down part of my personality, which is not remembering that I told stories before and then selling it.
Yeah, the oversell was there because you hadn't told this before. I just anticipated.
Are you serious? You must have heard me say steak salad a million times.
Nope.
That is just so.
I just knew where we were heading.
My personality, and that is exactly what we do. I buy two big things of meat, and then I buy romaine.
Did you go with the New York strips?
I went with the prime ribeye.
Okay,
and it's good.
Sure,
it's really good. And so we had it like beautiful steak with artichokes and beautiful, and then enough left over. In the old days,
for steak salad,
right? In the old days, I would try to be judicious about the size of the meat I'd order, saying, okay, maybe we'll have a little left over, but not now. Now I go, no, I'm going for 2 days. So the next day, romaine lettuce, fantastic Caesar-style dressing, cucumbers, and then Susan noticed something that was a little different this time. She said, I put a little bit of balsamic in the... So let me say that this crowded room thing, I thought was excellent, and it really is about this guy who did have multiple.
And the music use was good? Are we going back to, or the music use was?
Great! It was great. Yeah, thank you for. No, thank you. I mean, thank you for bringing it up because you remember when I was adamant about not paying. Well, first of all, that artists are ripped off, so I don't want to get one of those Apple ones.
So I'd rather give them nothing.
So I'd rather affect my own life. And they'll go, who does that other song? I'd love to hear that. No, we don't have it. Well, one day we'll buy an album of it. So here's my list now because of the movies I watched. I don't know about you, but every time I do something, it's not like a seasoned talk show host does things. Why is it? Okay, here we go.
Sorry, are you waiting for the final credits to get these songs, or are you Shazamming them?
No, Shazamming it, baby. Yeah. I Shazam it all the way through. I'm Shazamming.
Must be fun to watch with you.
That's okay. All right, we did SOB. If anybody's not heard Nathaniel Rateliff, I think he's one of the best people going right now. Just unbelievable. Then there was The Perfect Day by Lou Reed.
That one I know.
I'm Waiting for the Man, Lou Reed.
Right. Velvet Underground, actually.
Velvet Underground. The Next Messiah by Jenny Lewis. Every Time the Sun Comes, Sharon Van Etten. Road to Nowhere. I'm a big Talking Heads fan, but I hadn't listened to Road to Nowhere in a long time. Perfect Day by Lou Reed. And then What Happens to Me Every Single Time.
Now, did this story take place in New York in the 70s? Yes? Okay, good.
What are we talking about again?
The movie that you...
Crowded. Yes. It's exactly when it took place. And it does an amazing job of capturing that time period. But I don't think... But this came up all the time. It's always Drake. I ask if it's Drake, and it's always Drake. So You and the Six by Drake. And then, it was a great... Here's the other thing. I love Bill Withers, but I didn't remember I loved the song Lovely Day. What a great fucking song. Lovely Day. Love. And then they also... bands that I feel like I should have been more into. Disorder by Joy Division. I know that I didn't listen to Joy Division, but I always thought I should.
Yeah.
Don't Leave Me, Harry Nilsson. Like, I never heard that song by Harry Nilsson before.
It's an eclectic mix for one movie. Is this all still from the movie, or are these other songs?
It's all from the... no, but it's a 7-part thing.
Oh, okay.
It's an 8-part thing. And
so it's not a movie. It's a series.
It's what Netflix calls documentaries.
A limited series. Oh, it's a documentary series, not a dramatic series.
I lied again. No, it's got Amanda Seyfried, Save Freed. No,
Okay.
it's absolutely a drama. Why can't I get it? Oh, it's not a classic movie that comes and goes. It goes along a period, right? It's not a movie that's
It's not a
finished
movie.
in 2
It's
hours.
not a movie. It's a TV series. It's a limited series.
Right, TV series, but it plays like a nice movie. And how about this song? Thank You for Sending Me. I don't know what that is. An Angel, maybe?
Thank You for Sending Me an Angel is the song.
Down in the Boondocks
Sure.
by Joe South. Did you know that George Jones did She Thinks I Still Care? I couldn't even believe that. Statler Brothers, Flower on the Wall. This one I didn't like so much. Bobby Goldsboro, Honey. Honey.
Yeah, just hear the song.
You're too young for his stuff because I experienced his stuff when he was a young actual
You were old enough.
heartthrob.
You were old enough to watch Scotty grow.
Is that another song of his?
Yes.
But he reminds me of the younger Monkey. He had the younger Monkey vibe with a solo career.
Younger Monkey?
Yeah, Dave the Monkey. Oh, I wanna be free.
I don't think he was younger, really.
Who was this one? Julie, 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 do you love me? Ba 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 ba. Okay, you have to know that one. There was a song called.
No, but he did sing "I Want to Be Free," Davey.
I want to be free. Right. That seemed like it was like well, I guess Bobby Goldsboro wasn't a heartthrob. That's where I'm getting it wrong.
I think he was. I think that was most of what he had going for him.
And then I listened to the end of the Hollywood Exiles. What a great series. And I'm telling you, and here's the thing. I'm listening to Una Chaplin, right? I go, she's got a very, kind of not a sexy voice, but she's got a voice. Yes, like a nice, and so you start to imagine.
Is it actually her, though?
Of course. Okay. And so you
not
go.
Always.
What do you mean? Oh, no. She's host of the series.
Oh, hosting the series. I thought you meant
she's hosting the series about
the book that you were listening to of hers.
No. This is a show, a podcast series that came out called the Hollywood Exiles, about the right. And then I go, and I'm trying to be, as I get older, less like sexist, where I go, she has such a wonderful voice, man. But if I look at a picture of her, so I'm doing the thing about I don't date this woman. I don't know this woman, but maybe we'll go out.
But still, let me make a sexual opinion about her.
Right, but not even a sexual opinion. She just sounds sweet. And I said, but I think she probably is 90 years old. And then, no, she's an actor who's very attractive, and she's 36. And I was thinking, what am I missing here? How could Groucho...
Granddaughter of Chaplin, not daughter.
Not Groucho, yeah. How could she be so young? And I realized... I'm old because I remember Charlie Chaplin giving the speech in 1972 to the Academy Awards. Right. So if I was doing it,
was
I
50
would be 95.
52 years ago, yeah.
Right. And her mother was Geraldine Chaplin, and it was just but this series is unbelievable. If you really need to feel what it was like to just family members of the people who were blacklisted, because she interviewed Will Gears. Will Gear, right? No. Okay, Will Gear was a famous old actor, and they ended up on the Waltons. He was on the Waltons, but he did a lot of stuff earlier, and he had been blacklisted, and it ruined his life. And he happened to be, later on in his career, everyone loved him because the Waltons was American, apple pie.
Right.
But it's interesting because they start talking about these people.
I avoided the Waltons like poison as a kid, by the way.
There's no reason why you shouldn't have seen it. You should have seen it. It was one of my favorite shows only because I seen the original movie, A Christmas Story, not Christmas Story, but some kind of movie where John or
Christmas
Boy
on Walton Mountain or something like that.
Something like that, and I loved it. First of all, I loved Richard Wilmore, John Boy.
All right.
Richard Roundtree.
No.
Okay.
No,
but I loved his acting. I always loved his acting. I always thought he was I always admired non-Jewish people who didn't talk a lot. You know what I mean? He wasn't like, "Hey, Jerry." He was just like, "Yes, I think I'll go out and do my chores."
You couldn't admire a quiet Jew, or you couldn't find one.
Maybe that's the thing. Again, that's the self-hating Jew part.
Yeah.
is you hate yourself for your religion, and so you don't, and you want to get away from it. So you say you're Jewish, but then you don't want to watch. See, the problem is, I got so fascinated by the more than the self-loathing part. So if I see a Chabad telethon, I don't think, oh my God, my people are crazy. I get off on the maybe if I hadn't watched Jerry Lewis from the time I was 7 and loved that show every year, the telethon every year.
I never loved it, but watched it every year with fascination.
It's terrible. Yeah. It's really not entertaining. Unless you like the part where he.
What are you doing with your hand? And will it stop?
Oh, I'm trying to wake him up.
Oh, okay.
I've been using the impact massager.
Yeah.
But I have pins and needles all day long. I've also lost all feeling on the left side of my body for about a month.
That's a problem.
Why?
Because
I said just on the left side.
Oh shit! Hold on one sec.
No problem. Don't get upset.
Sorry.
Why would you be sorry? You were recording, but you're staying in your house. Nobody ever comes here. If they do come here and they ring the intercom, we hide under the couch for several hours. Yeah. Because the thing is, we live in one of those buildings where they always say, "Don't let people in," and the only way you cannot let people in is you avoid people and you don't answer the intercom. Because otherwise they're going to go, are you here to, who are you? I am FedEx or I am
Land Shark.
Somebody. Yeah.
Candygram.
I'm not comfortable about that part of life.
Sorry.
Are those the people who delivered the thing?
Are who the people who delivered the thing?
I mean, what was at the front door? Was it a package?
I'm waiting to see. It seems like it was a package.
Who's that boy? Is that Cody?
That was Lucky, I believe.
No, yeah. Where's the Raro?
Sounds like it's over.
Wow.
Very
and those that's what's hard about being a dog owner. I never have to worry about that.
It's true.
But I also don't get the affection side.
Yeah.
And there's something about dogs. I must be crazy about dogs. Because I go out and I want to look at him, he's walking. It's so cute. They don't just walk like me. They just like they are on. Walking is emotional for the dogs.
Yes.
And I just because they're smelling something, they're looking at things, and it's unendingly entertaining for someone like me.
Yeah.
I want to. I don't know what it is. It's like.
Has anyone? You know what it is?
What?
Dogs are the fucking best, is what it is.
They really are. You're absolutely right. Because I love that there's a complete new human, a complete being all of a sudden could come into your room and it's got a whole situation going on.
Absolutely.
It could be a Cody who hides under the covers. How's Cody doing?
I'm telling you, there are days where my only positive thoughts are dog related.
And that's more of a reflection of your own. No, it's not true. No, I definitely can see it. I can see it. And I believe a lot of times they say you shouldn't anthropomorphize. I say you should. I think what's more charming is
I don't think you do a dog a service by assigning human behavior to everything they do. You really don't.
No, but it's good for shows like Lassie.
Because then you have to start taking things personally.
True, and then you do the thing about, I think everyone's hope is that they'll be home alone and something will happen and their dog will drag them by their leg out of the fire. Isn't that one of the hopes?
If it's a fire. You don't want them,
But,
I limit the things that I want my dogs to drag me out by the leg for.
Well, when you were a kid.
By the way, my dogs are not dragging my fat ass anywhere. They might get my shirt out.
Now, what they always say stories like this. If you're alone with this animal or that animal, but I've heard it with a dog. If you're alone with a dog after 8 days, then they'll eat you if they're very hungry.
You have to be dead in this scenario.
Oh. Then what do I care if my dog's eating me? Do you think this is...
Write Nicolo's Mary Provost on your list of songs to listen to.
What is that one?
It's about a dog eating his owner after she dies.
Is it a true story? Who would write a song about that?
Read it. Listen to it.
Wow. It's a true story?
Yes.
Oh, I don't believe that. That's
She
terrible.
was a winner that became a doggy's dinner. She never meant that much to me. Oh, poor Marie. About a woman who was a silent movie star who, was a big, and then when talkies came, she couldn't keep up and she died in her Hollywood apartment.
What's the group?
Mary Providence. I said Nick Lowe.
Oh, Nick Lowe, that's good. But
Yes.
who's Mary Providence? That's
Mary
the name of the
Providence
song.
is the name of the woman and the song, yes.
Very good. Boy, you have a demon. Yes. But I thought differently. I thought the way I thought that story was after the 6th day or the 7th day, you're with the dog, and then it just starts to turn ugly.
No.
And then you have to worry about dozing off.
You have to be dead.
So, what does that say about dogs? It says that
what does what say about dogs?
Well,
I think it shows that dogs have great restraint if they wait 8 days to start eating you.
I think it does, because there was a story about a guy who had this big pig. What are these huge pigs?
Pig like that, wild. You wouldn't want to eat it all at once.
No, there's a wild pig. And I forgot what they're called.
A boar, a feral boar.
Maybe, but I think the point is that these people, he loved this. In other words, he was working with animals his entire life.
Yeah.
And so in some cases like this, I wish I could think of the name, wildebeest or something, was a friendly, and then 10 years later tried to fucking kill him.
Yeah.
So
these are some of my favorite stories, are the wild animals attacking people, as you may have.
And so it's like the guy was really crushed because he it was just one of these things, like the pig was with the family forever.
Yeah.
And used to horse around with them.
To mix your metaphor.
And the guy survived the attack.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
Guy like that, you wouldn't want to eat him all at once.
Now, what's that a punchline to?
That's to a famous joke.
Let me hear the joke. Give me a little bit of it. Right.
Guy pulls up to a farm and he sees a peg-legged pig, 3 legs and a peg leg. He goes up to the farm. What's the story with that pig? Well, that's a very special pig, my friend. That pig pulled us out of the house during a fire one time. Another time he fought off 3 robbers, blah, 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 and all these things. So what's about the peg leg? Well, a pig like that, you don't want to eat them all at once.
I like that. I have heard that one.
That's what I was counting on.
Why would you have counted on that? Well, I guess you could have thought maybe I would have heard that.
Because you're a Jew and a guy in comedy for 50 years, I thought it might have come up.
Wait a second. I just want to make a note of something. Okay. The thing about the show is that you really don't know what's happening when Josh will turn on me. Because look, I'm not saying I was really funny. I'm typing. I was really funny at the top of the show, but I was not how he was perceiving it. So, diary, you can't win. You can't win. Okay, I'm back.
Say hi from me.
I had so many things to tell you, which I always say all the time.
But you didn't.
No, but I watch a lot of shows now. I watch a lot of shows. That's not
real conversation.
That doesn't count, right?
Although I did watch Dan Schneider get berated for a few hours.
Oh, well, that's what you said to me. I watch nothing.
I didn't say I watched nothing.
No, but you didn't think that's the show I watched all weekend. I watched all of those, the documentary about it.
Yeah.
And the one about Drake Bell, just horrifying.
Yes.
Did you watch any of the other things? Did you watch all the?
I watched
the show.
I watched all the episodes of that show.
Is there 3 or 4?
I think there's 4.
But the 4th hasn't been out yet, or it was out.
They're all out.
Okay, and so, I found this thing horrible. I felt so bad for this guy Drake Bell, and just the fact that all of these people wrote letter. It's just like, I understand that you can be fooled or you think you're helping or whatever the thing was, but they all wrote letters glowingly saying how great this guy was, and I know he's sorry if he did anything. And this guy didn't just do things; he just kept raping this kid,
right?
Who he groomed, and he was trying to pitch it like the guy, I'm gay and he's hot. What do you want me to? It's like
we don't know what he said to these people, but he clearly told them a fucked up version of what he was accused of to get them to write these letters. But
right, exactly. So it turns out, and so when Drake Bell went to the first trial,
nor did they know who the victim was when they wrote them.
They didn't know who the victim was. But here I am. I'm defending the people who defended the rapist. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying. No, that's not what you're trying to do at all. But what I think it's more of, I think it's a coming of age thing or not. Like it's like there's a Me Too segment to this. I don't think people realized the degree that how people were groomed 20 years ago, maybe. Right. And also just to give this guy, and the reason why this guy, Dan Schneider, he's not off the hook is because he's a monster. He is a complete monster, the way he ran the set and the way he bullied. And he was weird with women, and he's getting massages. He's getting massages on the set of a children's show. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a thing that, and I think, and someone, I think one of the makeup artists or something said, this is a stunted human being, and
yes.
And, I even saw some of that on Freaks and Geeks. There was nothing in terms of sexual abuse or anything like that. But there's this thing where, because it was like this high school set thing, it felt like there were some of the writers, not myself, but who wanted to be cool kids in that context. They would hang around the set and hang around the cast in this way, like they wanted to be accepted in high school again. Right. So, Dan Schneider's behavior is all, I mean, it becomes like, it's sort of almost pedestrian if it was an adult show.
Yeah.
In the sense of, I've seen those kinds of "it's good to be the king" abuses by showrunners over the years. But when you put it in the context of a kid's show, it just becomes even more horrifying. And then,
it's more
and the bullshit that he, also part of his stunted character is all of these sort of, these pseudo-sexual things that he'd inject into these scripts for these kids to do.
Oh my God. That was very, very uncomfortable. Was that what?
And it's all just such, bullshit, aren't we naughty kind of child.
Yeah, right.
Behavior. Look what we're getting away with.
But here's the thing. There's a certain tendency, like anybody go, well, it's a kid's show, but a kid's show can be done right or it can be done wrong, and it can be funny or it's not funny. But because he's working with kids, in other words, I don't think he was ever a genius, and I don't think he was ever a genius because he did Slime Time stuff with them. But he probably did have some facility with kids where he could bring stuff out in them.
Well, and more importantly, he could know what appeals to the audience,
Right. But I'm wondering, in other words, like, is he great with what the kids know, or is it just manipulated a situation where because he's an adult and he's intellectually can make decisions that kids can't make, he's seen as a genius because he did so well with these shows. But taking them separately, the Amanda Show, are they great?
I think, the word genius is
thrown around a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't belong in this conversation, really. You know what I mean? It's not, I think you get, if you're successful, you get treated like a genius in this town.
Yes, exactly.
So he was very successful at launching successful children's shows on Nickelodeon. Like, he had a niche and he was successful at that. Were any of these shows objectively good or brilliant or nutritious or,
Yes.
No, but they did entertain kids at the time.
Right.
So they did their job.
But there's also things that entertain kids that are better like Ren and Stimpy. Let's put aside the fact that I think the guy's a horrible guy or came on to women or whatever and stuff like that. That was a very funny cartoon.
Yeah.
So sometimes just stuff that's designed for kids also is hilarious. I don't have to tell you this. I'm just saying sometimes it is.
Oh, no. I don't think kids programming is inherently stupid or bad.
Right. But his film does feel stupid
a certain percentage of kids programming is always going to seem stupid or bad to an adult.
Right. But he had this thing, too, where he would come down the floor and, he'd take over, and this is a little bit of what I would say executive producer disease. And my good friend Phil Rosenthal, I certainly hope he doesn't take it the wrong way
when he listens to this.
When he listens to it, which he never will. But they do believe that they found the combination to the lock sometimes.
They do. Absolutely. They do.
And is that called showrunner disease?
It's kind of a showrunner disease. It's a showbiz disease. I mean, that's what my favorite doc about Hollywood, Overnight, is about. That showbiz disease about.
Do I know that one? I've never even heard of it.
Yes, you have. But I can tell you again. It's about the guys who wrote and directed the guy who wrote and directed Boondock Saints, who got wooed by Harvey Weinstein, and he bought him a bar, and they believed they cracked the code. They got, they cracked the lock. And there was certainly that disease at Mystery Science Theater when we first got on national TV from our little UHF show.
Right.
But the thing about being a showrunner on a big show is there's a certain naturalness to that thing, which is you are absolutely the pivot point to everything happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like every single department comes to you with questions. How about this or this or
Right.
So everyone is always waiting on you for an answer. And so you become incredibly important. And some people handle it and some people don't.
And some people don't.
Yeah. And I think the thing that Phil cracked was making like a humane job out of sitcoms. Phil Rosenthal,
I mean, getting in a certain time.
Yeah, they took very big pride in doing a 9-to-5 work day in the writing room rather than the standard over dramatic 3 a.m. writing sessions.
Right. Yeah. No, there's something to be said for it.
But yes, it is a showrunner disease. And it just, some of it is natural because you are so important.
Right. And it's a big show. And
there's just a lot on your shoulders, and you're just, you're just very important in this whole thing.
Right. But
and you want to like milk any kind of joy out of the experience because it's not a joyful experience. It's a fucking nightmare being a showrunner especially like on a film show where you're just always filming every single day for months at a time. Yeah. At least on a sitcom, it's like a 1-day shoot, and there's a way to manage that schedule.
Yeah.
But, so I think there's people who like Dan Schneider with his fucking back rubs. It's like, it's good to be the king kind of, that's like his fucking thing,
Well, he was terrible because he hated women. His view towards women was sick.
Clearly. Yeah.
He's like
and I think
guy.
That's part of the stunted, 12-year-old fat kid, honestly. Having been one.
Right.
I didn't come out being a misogynist from that, but I did have a worldview of, women don't like me, blah, 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 and I didn't.
It's hard not to.
What solves it for me was getting away from women my age, basically,
Oh, right.
When I became a comic and I realized, well, adult women are fine with me. It's women my own age that have no time for me.
Yeah. Well, nobody. I mean, everything is a nightmare kind of when you're a kid trying to.
And that's the other thing is that, when I was in high school, I wasn't trying to be a cool high school kid because I didn't believe there was such a thing at that point.
Right. It wasn't, no. We were all geeks, I think, in my school. No, I don't know.
Well, even the quote unquote cool kids weren't cool to me because they weren't adults. They were pretending to be adults, and I could tell the difference.
Right. I just started to think about all these different things and all those personalities. Because wasn't it who's the guy on that show the heartthrobby guy?
On what show?
freaks and geeks, who kind of
James Franco.
Yeah. He listened to his own press a little bit.
Yes. Yes, he did.
But the thing that's damaging about what this Drake Bell thing is like, the thing is that just is horrifying is how it completely screws your idea of sexuality. I'm not saying it happened to me, but it screws your idea of sexuality, and it's just so damaging the way, for that kid. And that guy Drake, he says he had trouble when he was an adult, drugs.
Well, yeah.
And he was even convicted of a thing where he was sending inappropriate messages to like a 16-year-old. This, I will tell you, is absolutely what happens with sexual abuse. Because I read a lot of true crime and stuff like that. It's like, thank God seems to be doing well now, because it's not like you have something horrible that's done to you and then you become that to other people, but it comes out in weird ways.
Sure.
And
he said
too.
that his, even after all of this revelation, his fucking parents didn't get him therapy afterwards.
Wait, he
has since been in therapy, but he didn't get therapy after the thing.
No, but I don't know if you know that he's the one whose father he felt terrible for. His father was crying. And,
right. No, his father pegged the abuser and then got pushed out of the scene.
Exactly.
And the mother didn't protect him from this guy.
Not at all.
But even once the guy was convicted, he didn't get therapy at the time.
Oh, right. Yes. Well, that goes along with that it does seem like Nickelodeon. First of all, that's the worst name. No, but I mean, these multinational, I'm not making a generalization, but when there's so much money on the line, there's so much in the corporate world of let's just bury this, let's, even though we here at Nickelodeon care very much about, it still sounds dismissive. It still sounds like they're not taking responsibility. They're scared, maybe.
I think they're scared, but it's also like, this is Nickelodeon of 20 years ago being accused of all these things, and none of these people are the same people,
Right. I wondered.
Which isn't to say that corporate-wise they don't have a responsibility, but the individuals at Nickelodeon can only say, no, we're good now,
Well, I love the fact that this guy, Brian Peck, he gets out of he's the one who abused Drake Bell, and he was a dialogue coach. He gets out of prison for 16 months, and he goes and works on a Disney Channel show. Now, as soon as they found out, they fired him, but it's still just you would think,
why isn't there an extra level of background check protection on the sets of these shows, even 20 years ago?
Yeah, it's not. It's a difficult thing.
I mean, the truth of the matter is that there's almost no good outcome for kids and kid stars.
Yeah, no, there isn't, unless it's gotten better just from the attention that's been brought to it over the years.
Well, but I
don't know.
But you can be as tender as you want to the kid and protective as you want from the kid, but you can't protect them from what show business is.
Well, because these predators.
Well, I mean, I'm talking even just like straight up, no predators, no sexual attention.
Right.
I'm just saying that even like a kid having a perfect experience on a hit show, in terms of how they're treated, they're still going to end up with trauma when that goes away.
Well, especially when I was doing that Wizards of Waverly Place thing, and the Disney people were telling me, the people who work for the shows were saying that Disney would do shows, and for the first year they would ask for everyone to work less until the show got popular.
Right.
But then they wouldn't let it go more than 2 and 3 years. They changed the name of the show so they could get people to work. I mean, that is just a traditionally cheap company run by a guy who called people commies, I mean, Walt Disney was very sick as a human being. And so, but I do also think that this idea of they want to assert so much power in their thing is where it's our show, you're working for us, and they don't want you to ever think. In general, studios don't ever want you to think I'm the reason why it is everybody.
No, I mean there's always a corporate interest in both keeping people and making people feel disposable.
Yes, yeah, and that ultimately leads to. It doesn't, and I don't think that has to be. My mother, the Quaker, would say that you're supposed to treat people. You shouldn't even have to have the Quaker religion to treat people fairly, not just in your personal life,
right?
but your business life.
But that's the realistic scenario though is, me as a showrunner, I want to hire you as an actor or a writer or whatever. Right. I don't negotiate with your agent. The guy from business affairs negotiates with your agent. The guy from business affairs, the only way he can be a hero in his job is to beat someone down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's just doing his job.
Right. Right.
But if he can be a hero, if he gets someone cheap or screws them over or gets them to sign the thing without looking,
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So I mean, but I also don't want to. I know there's an adversarial relationship in every business enterprise everywhere. I'm not saying it has to be adversarial. I don't think it has to be adversarial.
And I find it, I find it ridiculous and off-putting that it is. And I've told you, I've fired agents for being shitheads, and
yeah,
that was I wouldn't do anymore because it's almost like that's their fucking business, not mine, But at the time, I thought of them as an extension of me, and therefore that was how I was doing business. And,
I still think that would always be a way to go. I mean,
it's
if you had real assholes,
it's Pollyanna-ish.
But look at Alan Klein in that movie. I mean, Alan Klein. I watched the third hour of that again. It's like, John Lennon was wrong about Alan Klein.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney was right about Alan Klein.
Yes.
And you could even hear that John Lennon was like, the guy knows everything. I mean, he was taken by him.
He was totally taken by him.
Everything.
I know. He knows more about us than we do. Oh Jesus! And you saw the producer guy. I blanked on Glenn Johns.
Yeah, Glenn Johns, yeah.
Really subtly trying to
go.
He's a weird guy. If he doesn't hear what he wants to hear, he'll walk away from you, or he was trying very gently to go.
But John was like, that's what I like. I like he's a weird guy.
He was in love, yes.
It had to have been all about them feeling they were just ripped off for all those years and wanting to control their own careers. And
there was that, and I think there was resentment for Paul acting, filling the Brian Epstein void. So they wanted someone else to be that strong manager that they had before.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. God, he was horrible, that Alan Klein. Also, I from watching that 3 hours, however long it was, it really does. It's a completely different experience from watching the original Let It Be.
Totally.
And so you don't want to look at it as I looked at it historically about Paul, but there was this thing with Paul. If you don't tell the fucking drummer, do this,
right.
Because, and the other thing is, I used to have a opinion that Ringo, because just as a kid, that Ringo wasn't a great drummer, that Pete Best was a better, just because I was a kid when I learned all this stuff. But Ringo's a fucking great drummer.
Fucking great drummer, absolutely.
Right? He's like
an incredible sense of feel.
Yeah, and he's, and you're going to tell him, that's just Paul's ego running out of control and not wanting to.
Oh, no, undoubtedly Paul was a big control freak, but he wasn't the only toxic factor in that room.
No, and he did have a ear.
You could see him working, but to his credit, something that I never credited him for, before seeing this thing was you saw him process it too and go, yes, I am a control freak. I should back off on these things. I will try,
Yes.
And that, to me, that was very much to his credit, and it was credit I never gave him, was he did acknowledge maybe he didn't get the full scope of it or the full scope of the resentment at that point.
Yes.
But he did acknowledge his role in the hostilities,
right,
and did try to modify his behavior, You know, there was even a great quote in there. It's like, how's it going to look 20 years from now if, you know, they broke up because she was sitting on an amp, you know?
Yeah, that's true. You know, and that is a tribute to what I think was really true about the Beatles story, was how much they did love each other when they started and really thrived working off of each other.
Yeah. And
that I think is what makes A Hard Day's Night really captures that they were that way as a group. You know?
Yeah, I mean, although that was an artificial version of it.
Oh, I know that, but I mean,
I think that as a companion with Get Back is a great, interesting thing, because the thing that Get Back allows for that neither previous accounts nor Let It Be accounted for was nuance, and you know, there's more nuance to they all hated each other's guts, and Yoko was, you know. They all had hostilities that they brought to the table at this point. They all, you know, the one I think less of at the end of this is probably George, really, just because he's such a passive aggressive motherfucker, you know.
Right, yeah.
But still, you know, there's nuance to all of these relationships, and to be able to watch them, not in real time, but with a lot more breathing room, made for a more interesting story than the story that it used to be, you know.
And I think Peter Jackson did an amazing job with showing at different points, like, the guys go, I want to go on the, in other words, like, at first, I don't want to just go on the roof. And you can see, I don't want to go on the roof, and they don't even want us to play. But they seem to get into it, and then it really, so it's played much more better, obviously, than the original Let It Be.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean, the thing that the original Let It Be didn't have, almost by its nature, was how intrusive the making of Let It Be was to this whole process. Right. You know, the fact that they had self-created this situation that they were in, where they were making this movie and needed an ending for it, essentially, put all this artificial pressure on the process. But you don't see that in Let It Be, because you don't see the sort of, you know, sniveling Michael Lindsay Hogg walking around trying to provoke things for his movie, you know.
But so the point I'm ultimately making is that when you get up there, that thing on the roof was fucking great. I'm just saying, as a world event and a thing that they needed. They never played together again after that, but just, it was such a tonic. And so the attitude of the Bobbies and the attitude of the people in the office and how they kept trying to stall them from going all the way to the roof. Yeah. It's just so great to watch.
Yes.
It's just so great. And it's like, even to hear, you know, my hands are getting too cold now. You know, you could just, I guess as a musician, I'm not saying the Beatles, but as a musician, I can relate to that whole thing of, like, I've played outside when it was cold, and you know, so it was cool because you could see how much they did love to play together.
Yeah, and they were good at it.
And they were good at it, right?
Well, and it was, you know, the other thing that the magic quality of injecting Billy Preston into all of it.
Oh, I know,
was a great part of the story as well. You know, I
keep thinking it's not like.
Because it was clear that they were also sick of each other's limitations in some way, too.
Oh, they needed him so bad. Just to have, and he happened to add so much great stuff to that music. But he's just a great, I loved him, too, afterwards. I know he didn't have a long career, but.
Well, he did have a long career.
From nothing. He did have a long career. I mean, he didn't have a long career. He died young. That's all.
He did. I got to see him at the concert for George.
Wow. Oh my God. Nothing from nothing leaves. Well, you know what?
There's some good Billy Preston performances if you dive into the Midnight Special archive, as I have.
Oh, so, cool.
Which you should. I think there's tons of stuff there that you'd be excited to see.
Is that like a YouTube-y thing?
Yeah, just type in the Midnight Special. It'll take you to the page, and it'll be a smorgasbord of nostalgia. Are you going to hang up?
Do you feel there's something guiding you, like the rhythm in your soul? Something deep inside of you. you relinquish all control. In my fantasies, it's another place and time, 'cause the world I see leaves me shallow and unkind. As we drive tonight, we're going home. Hope we get there soon. Now the stars are dim by the city lights, and I'm worried about the moon. My obsession started boring me like the ringing of a phone, carrying on endlessly, like I don't get that I'm alone. Is there anywhere that I can run and hide from my empty nest, from my empty life? As we drive tonight, we're going home. Hope we get there soon. Now the stars are dimmed by the city lights, and I'm worried about the moon. I'm worried about politicians' disease, poverty, my complexion, germ warfare, you and me. I'm worried about messiahs who come too late and leave too soon. Now the stars are dimmed by the city lights, and I'm worried about the moon. Won't you tell me that it's all okay? One more time and I'll believe you're not gonna disappear, and there's nothing up your sleeve. There's a change in pace to this changing world. With my veil in place, I'm a shadow girl. As we drive tonight, we're going home. Hope we get there soon. Now the stars are dimmed by the city lights, and I'm worried about the moon. As we drive tonight, now we're going home. I hope we get there soon, 'cause the stars are dimmed by the city lights, and I'm worried about the moon.
Thank you. It's finally, and I just want to say, good morning. Good morning.
Why do you want to say that?
Do you know what that's in relation to?
The Germans.
No, like in the when I first moved out here, and the Ken and Bob company were on the air, and people would say good morning. Maybe the guy's name was Morgan, who said good morning.
No,
I can't
it's German. Good morgen.
No, though. I am so tired of you reference. Everything with you is either from Hogan's Heroes.
Well, I'm tired of your Nazi greetings, okay?
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? You're still a little sensitive
I'm a little
after
sensitive.
all these years.
Yes.
Why? Look, you're doing pretty good.
I had a bad Audi.
Your belly button was out?
Ba-ba-ba-hoo?
Ba-ba-ba-hoo, ha-ha-hoo-hoo-hoo, ha-ha. Why is that not like one of those stingies? Ba-ha-ha-hoo, ha-ha-ha-ha-hoo, ha. And you know what you would do? I'll tell you what you do. You would take my scratch track, ba-ha-hoo, ha-ha-ha-ha-hoo, hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo, and then you add this people, I'm gone. And then you go, yeah, I used your thing.
No, I keep it in, but it only works if you have a sense of fucking rhythm, for God's sakes.
Well, you know, when you play classical music, they have a thing, cantante adable, blah, 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 blah. They tell you slow down gradually.
Yeah.
They recommend it. Later in the rock band.
That's why they have a conductor, though.
That's true, they do. later in the I tried to conduct the rock band.
Yeah.
What did I call it, a rock band?
So did McCartney. Look how that worked out.
We've been watching some. What did I watch? What did we watch? What? Oh, maybe it's not Fargo. Another thing I watched, Crowded Room. Very good. Did I tell you about the Crowded Room?
I think you did.
Yes. So we have Talk to Me. Okay, I'll give you some sounds of what the song is, and you'll guess. Right? I'm not going to sing it just like the song because I don't want to get sued. But you ready?
You don't worry about the lawsuits. Let me take care of the lawsuits.
Baby, you can just like me, baby, you can, just like me.
Yeah. I actually just saw. I was watching Stop Making Sense last night.
Oh, so tell the people the verdict that I'm actually doing a song from the thing.
Oh, baby, you can walk, you can talk just like me. With a little practice, you can walk, you can talk just like me. If that's what you want to do, and you can look. We're walking circles around me. But first, I'm walking circles round. I'll walk around the world.
This thing I have done this last night. Boom, 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 boom. I was trying to impress people by knowing the one French thing in the song in Psycho Killer. With me, really realizing my hope.
Stop. It's hard.
Okay,
It's too hard.
I'm hurting us both. I'm not even. It's not even good banter for the. Remember, we're going to submit our throw out banter to a banter donation society.
Yeah, they wouldn't take it.
That collects banter for people who are easily amused.
It's like trying to get blood with hepatitis. They just don't want it.
Well, you don't go in there saying you have it. Yep, up and bang, bang. I'm not recommending people try to fool the blood bank. I'm just saying there's certain things that you don't have to come in and top of the mind. All right.
But grasping onto the last piece of topic, Stop Making Sense is still one of my favorite things in the world.
Yeah, well, I think about, here's the thing I was going to think about. Let me take what you said and make it more boring. I loved it. I've seen it. But I'm going to, and you can talk about it, because I remember it was Jonathan Van Demme, who, right? Jonathan Van Demme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Bobby Demme directed it. So I've seen it. And I want you to be able to talk freely about it. But I also want you to know that I don't think the people listening to the show know how, or if I said it, I was absolutely addicted to the Talking Heads when I was not able to put out music as good as them, but I couldn't get enough. I was like a fanatic. I went to the shows. I wore the T-shirts. I yelled at them from a distance. I'm living in the future. I'm feeling wonderful. I actually caused them to turn around in a frightened way.
Yeah.
To me, when I dropped acid at the Greek Theater. So I don't know what my point is, but I just can't even. Sometimes when I think back on it, I'm not saying you've taken the mantle, you've stolen it from me, that was my birthright. That's not my point. So I don't really have a point.
Yeah. Well, but you have completely killed my enthusiasm for the topic. So let's move on. No, you did.
No.
Completely. No, God.
Oh, please.
You made it ugly.
Please.
You made something that I enjoy ugly somehow. So
why don't you tell people the truth? You emailed me last night at 11 o'clock. You said, look, I'm working on what would you be working on that would be pretentious about Stop Making Sense? I'm working on a college treatise.
A thought piece. A think piece.
And now you've, I was going to say a little bit of on the show, but now once again,
you're taking my thing, my Talking Heads, and I was the biggest fan, and my Talking Heads experience is much more special than yours.
That is at the root of the disease that I have. That's the root of it.
It is. It is.
It really is.
Sometimes it's hard to deal with. I'll be honest.
Have you? Have you ever seen this band? I was in a band. Well, I know, but I'm asking you if you enjoy this band. I do enjoy that band, much as I think they would have enjoyed me. That is the genesis of a narcissist.
Yes. I've been watching,
that's
aside from the brilliant Talking Heads, I've been watching mindless horseshit all week. I've been watching.
Oh, give me some
I
stuff
watched
that I might.
The first 2 John Wick movies because they were leaving Netflix.
Now I've not watched one. You're 2 ahead of me.
It took me a long time.
Me that Susan
I
and
cannot
myself will
convince
enjoy
you
it.
any part that you'd enjoy it because I didn't enjoy it that much.
Is it Keanu Reeves?
It is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like the first one had a little bit of a style and this little world that it had built, but mostly it's Keanu Reeves shooting guys in the head at an alarming rate. Like really just, 100, like 100 people shot in the head. And then the second movie is about 150 people shot in the head.
So it starts to get old too, right?
It gets old. Yes. The ballet of violence kind of runs out of steam after a while. And I watched, speaking of ballets of violence, I also watched the remake of Roadhouse on Amazon.
Oh my God, I have never watched that's the movie that Tom Sharpling always talks about, like it's a classic, but he's being sarcastic, right? Or well, it is a classic.
It's a classic in its way. I mean, is
Bill Murray in it, or did he just love the movie?
He might have loved the movie. He had nothing to do
think he loves the movie. Yeah.
But no, there's something about it. It's that's totally engrossing. It's not good, but it's not, what I think what makes it great is that it's a like total B movie with total A movie production value.
Yeah. Yes.
And decent enough actors around the horn that, that it keeps you. But the remake of it is a far lesser thing.
Because, wait. Are you saying it's out?
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, how long has it been? Oh, it just came out.
Yeah. And it's Doug Liman directed it, who's, a noted action director and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And so, it just alternates between smirky and ultraviolent, so it doesn't have the charm.
Right. I will still watch Roadhouse, the original one, but I'll stay away from the sequel.
I think you should, yeah.
Who plays Patrick Swayze's character? Is it
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Are you kidding me?
No, and
then people go,
and he's
no
jacked,
way.
My friend. He is jacked.
And so, what else?
I think that a lot of basketball as well. So, not a deep thinker week for me.
Well, I was going to tell you that I've watched almost all 5 seasons of Fargo, and we've been loving it. The Fargo, the TV show.
Yeah.
On FX.
I got that.
And the year that we couldn't watch anymore, and it's not because I have anything against Chris Rock's acting, but we could not watch that year. We could not watch anymore. It just got weird. It was weird. So we were out of it. We got out of it on a very strange note.
Yeah. And
we may finish it up. But year 5 is with John Hamm.
I wouldn't think you had a problem with Chris Rock's acting so much as that you were racist, from what you were saying.
That's exactly the fear that I had of what you would say.
Oh.
Reformed Jews are just a little bigoted. Come on.
That's what I find.
That's what you find.
I have to say, speaking of Reformed Jews, this is what an asshole I am. I don't go to synagogue for decades. And then I go to a Reformed synagogue and go, what's this bullshit?
That's so good. It's cut to, it still hasn't changed. The bitterness hasn't gone away.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it would be...
I know what these people should call themselves, Lutherans.
Yeah, that's right. Let me tell you something. Okay. You know what? I just got exhausted from having probably come up with a million of those jokes. We were Reformed Jews. We had our services in a church.
we had a trade out deal with honey baked ham.
I want to say that what the listener doesn't get to appreciate is the compact quality with which Josh delivers the punchline. The punchline is not, I'm not saying I was the first person to do this, but there's a little, it includes me when you do that. It's like springs me in. You know it, Andy, because I'm going by that.
Because I'm leaning forward, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Right. I didn't invent it, but I perfected it is my new thing. All right, so in this Fargo.
Like your love of talking heads.
I don't know if this story will work about the talking heads. No, it won't. Not work. No, but it's about how I was a fan of them. I don't think that you understand that you're early, and no one's listening to the show thinking, what don't I know about Andy is not this narcissistic asshole? What has he not revealed yet?
And also, unless you're at CBGB's, you're not fucking cool, okay?
That's right. I'm out here. I'm in LA. First of all, I'm at the State University of New York at Binghamton in 78, 1 year after Talking Head 77 came out. So I'm behind the thing. I probably would have, if I had gone down to that scene because I enjoyed the heads, I'm sure I would have been great during that scene. Hi, David.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Oh.
And you would have taken credit. And you would have taken credit for that song if that happened.
Hi.
Okay, you've done such a good job of getting back to even.
Fifth season is John. Here's a spoiler. The first spoiler alert. If you don't want to listen to anything about season 5 of that show, then don't listen. But John Hamm has perfected being evil.
What if I'm the one who doesn't want to listen to anything about season 5?
Nah, because I know how you are. You're not that committed to begin with cliffhangers. All right. He has 2 nipple rings. That's all you have to know about how evil he looks. Yeah. It's just so evil. Modern evil. Yeah. That he has 2 of them. Okay. I'm going to say, here's a spoiler alert. I'm going to say that sometimes, and I know you know this, but I forget this, that sometimes murdering people can be hilarious.
Yeah.
When it's done the right way.
Sure.
And in this 5th season, there's several scenes where they murder people, and it is nothing more hilarious than you could ever see. And so, what happens is there's a guy who's very scared. They're coming in. The bad guys are coming in. There's one guy, he works at whatever it is. It's not 7-Eleven, but he works there. He's very scared. He's very, very, very scared. And so the cop who's injured and he's like lying on the floor, he's trying to talk to this guy who works here. And he says, do you have a gun? And he goes, I have an air horn. It makes a very loud air sound. And so the guy just stares at them, right? Next scene. The guy comes in, the bad guy comes in. He sets off the air horn. The guy doesn't even look at him, just turns it to the side and murders him. Doesn't even look to where the sound's coming from.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't scared by it. He just, there's a sound.
You thought I would laugh? You really thought I would laugh?
Yes. You will laugh if you see it.
First of all, the not looking at the guy shooting him convention has been overdone in action for my taste. Like it doesn't have impact.
Well,
the shooting someone without looking at them.
It wasn't overdone here because they
set it up properly. But still,
they set it up properly, and you will not at all think, I've seen that before.
Still,
but you'll see it just as a nice joke.
Telling me a TV show joke and expecting a laugh, that's insane.
All right. Look, I got ahead of my skis, and when I say get ahead of my skis, what I mean is I was vulnerable. That's what I meant. So anyway, that was a great story. I was trying to think of what else I've been watching.
But you're enjoying the hell out of the John Hamm season, it sounds like.
It's really good. It's very, very good.
All the funny murders.
Mm-hmm. I'm not that familiar with that hacky thing. of they shoot towards the sound, but it's just like the scene before it. He tells the guy who gets shot, he goes, "Get low," and the guy does it. It looks like Ron Lynch that he's falling through the floor, right? So that's already funny. Just how fast he goes down. So I just think it's all execution. The tone of the show, I think they try to always respect that, the Coen brothers could be funny right in the middle of being horribly vicious and scary.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think they do a good job there.
They're pioneers of funny murders.
Yes. But like when you think of the wood chipper, is that funny though, or is it scary as hell?
Depends who you are.
No, you do laugh. I think you do laugh. You have to laugh at the wood chipper. I think when you do it, when you see the wood chipper next to somebody you want to see wood chipped.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And the wood chipper comes after the funny murder of Steve Buscemi.
Which movie are we talking about?
Fargo.
Oh, the thing about coincidentally, the thing about Fargo is a one in a lifetime role is William H. Macy, and that thing is. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm no credit to the Coen brothers, but just how horrible, because he has if you kind of want to like him because you've seen him before and he's William H. Macy.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So you kind of want to like him, and he's got this thing, but and they did a good job on the first year of the Fargo show. They used the guy from the British Office. I always forget his name. And he played that character. And he was almost, I mean, in its own way, it was really brilliant version of that kind of guy.
I do have to say, as a Minnesotan, it is Macy's accent is a little hard to take for the whole movie because it is a caricature.
I'm sure
it's a caricature accent, but
well, I thank God that it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me like Fleischman in Northern Exposure. Oh, whatever his name is, Cliff Morrow? No, Rob Morrow.
Yeah.
No, not in Northern Exposure, in the quiz show. Okay. Full circle.
All right, now we got it.
He ruined that movie for me. But as I've said many times, I was in I was in a Neil. I haven't said it here. I was in a Neil Diamond play in college, and I had to be a guy from England, and they had to change it to a guy from New York.
You were in a Neil Diamond play?
No, I meant to say Simon.
Okay.
I was in a Neil Simon play.
All right.
Whoa. I was in the Neil Diamond musical. It's home, but it ain't fine. New York's phone, but it ain't mine no more. So it was Neil Simon, and I couldn't do an English accent. I literally could not do it.
I don't find that surprising.
Also, I mean, let's make it.
What's weird, what's ironic is that they had to take a Neil Simon part and make it more Jewish.
Yeah, that was. I think it ruined the whole play. It was called The Good Doctor.
And were you the title character?
Yeah. But it was here's the thing that was weird about it. It was like when I was in college, I think I respected Neil Simon. I thought he was funny. Like I thought he was like a really.
I don't think that's wrong. I mean, he is.
Right. But I don't. So when I was doing this play, I thought this has got to be hilarious play, but I didn't really understand it.
Yeah.
And it was really a takeoff on Chekhov, who I never read.
Uh-huh. So
it really was Greek to me. It's like he's doing inside jokes about Chekhov. Is how it seemed like to me.
In Greek?
No. No, I was supposed to be a British guy, but why is it British? I don't know. I blocked it. It's not a memorable show. I don't remember one. There's not been one person who's ever referenced it since I was in it.
Yeah.
The Good Doctor. Did you see it in the theaters?
I did, but with an actual British guy.
Oh, you did see it?
No, I didn't.
Oh. You know, the thing is, you're not committed. You don't get that emotional even when you have done something. So you were able to throw that off, and
That's
I could kind of believe it.
That's right.
Right?
I basically can set up any joke from where I'm sitting.
That's right. The fact that you went with that you did a leveling off visual with that, I find disturbing. Not really.
I didn't do a leveling. I was shooting in different directions.
I was shooting in different directions. I'm surprised you didn't trigger Google.
I am.
Is it FaceTime? Is Google? No.
No, it's not.
Did FaceTime have to pay Facebook to have a binga bop bop binga? People, I just had 2 friends of mine who are in their 70s who think I'm dead. Answer yes if you're still alive. That's how you know. How you know your career is not going well when your friend says, answer yes if you're still alive. And I was still alive, but I don't know anybody who I kept in touch with on Facebook. You never went to Facebook, right? Or did you go and stop?
Never went.
All right. So there were people I only knew from Facebook. They all think I'm dead because my account is gone and I'm not going back on there to noodle around.
Yeah. Well, that seems kind of lazy of them, honestly. To single source your death like that.
Especially since one of the people who thought I was dead, I communicated with them in December.
Yeah.
That's not that long ago.
But you didn't sound good, apparently.
Well, by text. But I'm at the age, and the only place I can talk about this is, who wants to hear this on Easter? But I'm at the age where one of my friends, of those 2 friends, said, "Come down to see us before we're dead." And one of the 2 of them has had health problems her whole life. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it sounds like a punchline. No, it's not a punchline.
It's a Damocles sword.
I feel bad that we don't know. I mean, you know what a Damocles sword is probably, but I feel bad like I can't throw around the myths and it's like Sisyphus in here. It's like Sisyphus all up in here. Why? And my father, you don't think he felt superior?
Let's thank the fine folks at Binghamton.
Do you don't think my father, did my father feel superior that he learned Greek and Latin? Yes or no? Just a little superior.
Yes.
Yes. But did he say it meant nothing? If you asked him, does it mean anything? It meant nothing.
Right.
Meant nothing. But actually, it meant a lot in terms of the derivation of our current words. Yes, you believe. And he would just at the dinner table go, Sig, Clarius, Shasha, Sim, Shashi, Sha.
See, my dad knew all this shit too, but he shared the information as a service.
Well, I'll tell you the difference. Your dad was a lawyer. I think if my dad had become any of the professions that he bashed, he would have felt more fulfilled in that profession. Even though he was fulfilled from his profession, I do believe that he did enjoy business.
Right.
But I think
there isn't an inherent prestige in plumbing supply necessary.
No, there's not. I like when you have to, what's it called when you walk? Tippy toe. Tippy toe. Andy, and I don't say it's right.
I was trying to respect your father is what I was trying to do.
And I don't say it's right. I don't say it's wrong. I'll tell you one thing, though. I am not one of these people who says, why don't you go be a fucking plumber or something? I don't even think I say that about, I have family members who are sanitation workers. I've never in my life went, oh, what are you, a garbage man? That level of joke is not in my act, Josh.
No, it's not.
But
that's
I'm
why
so
it doesn't
defensive
work.
About it. I have 4 gigs next week. 4.
Do you?
Yeah, 4 gigs to get ready for Austin.
That's fantastic. Good for you.
Yeah. All kinds of stuff. This way, UCB, that way, upside down. And I'm still looking forward to it. And you know what? I've been doing very well not getting freaked out about it until I realize if I don't set these gigs up, I call them gigs. I don't know what you call them.
Yeah. I call
sets.
Them mistakes.
I won't come up. I need to have some material honed. New material honed.
I think that's completely responsible of you.
But is that how you normally think of me? No. You normally think of me being a day.
I think stall, panic, and I think you've been doing a good job of.
Yeah, because you remember the Montreal speeches 3 days before. It's not that I can't do the speech; it's that I can't live in a world where I have to perform the speech.
So that's good. I mean, it sounds as if you might actually be looking forward to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. I am. It's just like nothing This is the decision not to record an album was really appreciated because I had planned it, and then I could feel the thing of like, oh, you're doing, why Montreal's gone? Don't create more Montreals.
Right.
And I'm at the, I'm giving back a little bit with this. Not really giving back.
Giving back to who?
Yeah, by the road, the people on the road. People of Austin deserve to see me.
The ones who've embraced Joe Rogan and those guys.
Yes, the ones who've embraced. And I was thinking about the one thing that's about the. Do you think he called it? Here's my theory, fake theory for comedic purposes. Do you think he called it the mothership to ingratiate himself with Elon Musk? He goes, oh man, because Elon Musk lives in Austin. He's like, hey, I'm all space positive here. The mothership will beam up some comedy. There's nothing funny about the mothership. As much as we used to hate things like Uncle Chuckles or whatever.
Space positive was kind of funny.
What's space positive?
You said it. You just said it.
Space positive.
I'm all space positive.
I'd be one of these people. We here at NASA, we hear you. We hear you when you say you want to go to Nars or Mars. And you know what? We're leaning in. We're going to lean into Mars.
And once again, that's where you take credit.
I want to go after.
I invented leaning in.
Right. But I just want to say that I think that that's all the material I had about the mothership. So it should be the conversation should be over in that regard.
Is that your plan, to go into Austin with Joe Rogan guns blazing?
I don't really. It's like anything that I'm thinking. First of all, again, that's a narcissist's dream. I'm going into Austin. Everyone's going to be waiting to see what I say or don't say about Joe Rogan. Nobody cares.
No.
Nobody cares. The night of the show, if I want to say my mothership thing, I'm going to say it because I'm honing material now as we speak.
I can feel it.
We say.
I feel it.
Yeah, you could tell that you. I don't want to look. I don't want to just try stuff on you without you knowing that it's a joke. But I don't know if you're aware that I played classical violin as a kid. I was actually studying as a kid to be. My violin teacher thought I was a prodigy, that I might one day be a classical violinist in a symphony. Didn't work out, though. Now I just play in the shower.
It's a great joke.
Such a great joke. I liked when Josh's eyes lit up a little bit at the recognition of a joke of mine that's better than my usual stuff. Because you wrote it. I'm just joking. I have no whatever it's called when you're
pride.
We saw Dave Rath. We saw Dave Rath out in the world.
How exciting.
Yes, I haven't seen him in years. Well, yeah, I've been friends with Dave Rath since when he was we were sneaking joints behind Stage 9. So
yeah,
I don't know if he was a manager when I first met him. He was always very funny himself. So we were always like,
wasn't he working for Jimmy Miller originally?
Yeah, I think so. And then that's right. And when they had the show, and Dennis Miller too, I think, something like that. I don't know. Let's not go down memory lane. All of a sudden, I was thinking about Dennis Miller words because I was listening to a podcast. And I'm like, Islamabad, Karachi. That's better, right?
They're both good.
Karachi. Just like we passed Havenhurst. I said it was I got this from David.
I haven't had halva like this since Islamabad.
You see, you say that as a joke. That is exactly what that's all he does. It's not better. It's not more thought out than that. It's not more superior. It's take a word like halva and make it more obscure somehow.
Yeah.
He literally is not, you know what? Maybe he was inspired before by like just coming up with jokes. Now he has to frame it around the character. I don't know. What am I? Who am I?
He's retired.
What are we talking about him
He's
for?
retired.
Yeah, he really is retired. But I was supposed to, for the Majority Report show, we were going to do something about him doing these infomercials, but I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything even. So it's not even a big enough thing that you can mock it.
Yeah.
He's doing infomercials like he's interviewing Mike Lindell. Mike, how'd you get the idea? That kind of stuff. He's interviewing right-wing entrepreneurs.
Oh, that's awful.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with the understated straight man. This guy's bothering me. It's like he's picking on me. Oh, that must be awful.
That's terrible. I feel bad.
I'm not worried because I know his mother-in-law. I can't even think of a hack joke.
Yes, you can.
I think maybe the worst joke. Well, maybe it's not a bad joke. Maybe it is a good joke. Maybe the mud pack joke is a very funny joke.
So it's either
having not heard it before. What's that?
What's the mud pack joke?
My wife tried a mud pack.
Oh.
She looked great for 3 days, then the mud fell off.
Right.
I think it's just out of touch. It doesn't make any sense, but it's not the worst joke.
No, it's a terrible Catskill my wife is ugly joke.
What was it about the misery of the Jews in the mid 20th century? The misery that compelled them to hate their wives.
I think you know.
But my mother was not stereotypically Jewish like that. She would have killed herself if she looked like anybody in the Catskills. Like, excuse me. She could have this attitude, but she wouldn't say, excuse me. Like that joke, I think it's Jan Karam or Carol Lever. Does this come in bone? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
She never had that voice. She had a more...
She does in your act, though.
Well, that's the magic. And, I talk about this on my animation masterclass. It's my animation master. Do you think... I have a question for you. Okay. And here's the question. There are true crime podcasts, and I love them, and I would say I'm a true crime aficionado.
Okay.
Then there are these ones they're making like, I swear it sounds like this. Oh, we've got the scariest, most disturbing stories that you will get involved in, and you get to be the monster, and everyone's into this, including scary music. Really blood-curdling. It's basically like that. Blood-curdling screams.
Yeah.
Who is going to... What person who likes true crime wants to hear this?
It's like a first-person shooter, but a podcast, kind of.
You get to be the serial killer. You get to be the... it's just so terrible. And I feel like it's embarrassing that they have to another person who I like.
It would be good. It would be good if it was like Albert Brooks' thing in Comedy Minus One, where they give you the script and you get to participate with the actual recording.
Yeah, it would be good if it was funny. I know, absolutely. It would be good if it was intended differently. But that's right. You know what? You want to do when I talk about Dennis Miller, you just can't help but go but. But we talked about why would Stephen Colbert even do a joke about Kate Middleton I don't understand. This is where I think the late night monologues are, or if I've said it, I'm sorry, I'm saying it again, need to be eliminated. If you're now in this 2024, you think you can make jokes about Kate Middleton, regardless. I mean, I'm not talking about the cancer. She didn't know she had cancer. But why are we joking about? Are we that? So I think we are that format has become poison now.
Well, I don't know what the joke was, but if it was pre-cancer announcement, how is that out of bounds? Question. How is that out of bounds?
Because I guess it's out of bounds because the joke's like, look at this picture of Kate Middleton. It's like, here's what centuries of inbreeding does. I think what it mistakes is it loses the humanity that this woman, yes, she married or whatever, but she's not by definition a mockable person. And that you say inbreeding jokes. I mean, I know
I again, like I said, I didn't know the joke.
I know you didn't know. You didn't know that. And
but I don't think. But I think when she puts out a clearly doctored photo as a way of making a public appearance after a long absence, there's nothing. I don't think that's off limits for jokery. I don't think there's that many good jokes to be made. I'm just saying that it's not inherently off limits. Now, once she announces she has cancer, she becomes a less valuable target. I would agree. A less worthy target or whatever.
Well, yeah. I'm not saying there's a crime. I mean, you can't possibly know someone was going to have cancer, but I think it shows the suffering. I think it just shows, like, in a way, that people can't let go of the fact that it's not Johnny Carson anymore. Nobody cares about these particular. In other words, it's not so funny to make. You could make back then. The royal family was like almost caricatures. It's like obviously.
They still are. Come on, it's a royal family.
No, I don't think Kate Middleton. I just think she's like a attractive. I don't know anything about her. It's like I just don't buy. I don't get into it where. I just think there's just like, it's an old thing to make fun of, but it just indicates that there could be lack of humanity where you don't see it. In other words, I'm not saying they went out of their mind out of the way to say that she looks like she's inbreeding. I just think that they don't think about her. They think she's in a class where she's a public figure and she's to be mocked. And I think that can be a mistake sometimes.
It's the sometimes I agree with.
Yeah. Well, I don't think even. What are you going to say about Prince Charles? I mean, what would a good comic today, who's not British, why would they be talking about Prince Charles or any of, or Meghan and Harry? The only people talking about them are like tabloids. I don't know. Do I sound upset or something?
You do. I don't understand the defensive posture of the royal family. Is what I don't understand.
No. I just don't think it's like because. It's not that. It's just
because I mean, you're talking to someone who finds the worship of the royal family such a ridiculous fucking thing, especially by Americans.
Absolutely, especially what?
Especially by Americans. That
absolutely. But people love Diana, and Elton John loved Diana. It's like I don't. It's like I don't. I love his song about Diana. It's like I don't have the same. I didn't live there. Where I would be like, are you fucking kidding me? You're telling me this family is the one family and they get all these. Of course, I would hate it. But because I'm American, it's slightly charming to me, I guess. And just so far out of what you should be making jokes about. There's the world is falling apart. And so what do they have, an international bureau of writers? Here's something in international news.
I just think this is a hilarious line to draw.
In international news, it's like a joke that Leno would do. Britney Spears.
Again, I'm just reserving the space for a good joke. I'm not saying that any of the jokes even so far have been worthy. I'm just saying reserve this space for jokes because I believe that there are good jokes to be made. And there's times and places to make them.
Right. I agree with you. But I'm just saying that my reaction, I think, was pretty natural to go, what are they even talking about her for? I mean, it's like, I would never have gotten into that hole. I would never have gotten into that. Kate Middleton's in the news, inbreeding.
When you have to deliver 30 monologue jokes, you might.
I don't, because I live in a dream world. Dream world. I have no pressure on me. But even if I had pressure, I would keep the standards of my topical jokes to the highest standard. I'm tired of that voice. I'm tired of my regular voice, too.
When I coined a thing when I was head writing on Later called fake jokes. And the Royals are definitely ripe for fake jokes. Like when I talked about it, it was like bringing up Ted Kennedy whenever there's an alcohol reference. That's a fake joke.
Yeah.
It's like that. So there's lots of those when it comes to,
But here's the thing. Even like Prince Andrew, There's nothing funny about Prince Andrew. It's just disgusting that he hung out with that Harvey Weinstein guy or Jeffrey Epstein.
Again, got to reserve the space for the joke, for a good joke if it comes along.
Who are we joking? I forgot what we're joking
Prince
about.
Andrew,
here.
you just said.
Yeah, but okay, you're right. But
there is no current reason to be joking about it. But if I came up with a good joke, there would be.
You would be. But here's what I would say. Let's say you were writing a joke.
It wouldn't be about rape.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right. In other words, I'm just saying, like, I'm not even making one overall point, but I'm just saying, like, you could joke about things that now really shouldn't be joked about in terms of if you're getting into that the joke is that that you think the woman was a prostitute, or she was,
right.
The woman was asking for it, but the time period of those things, they don't play. It's just like the whole topic somehow can sound almost not even misogynist, but it's like if you make light of what Prince Andrew did.
I know, but I just still have such a soft spot for the perfect joke that skirts that skirts the line, where it's like almost inappropriate, but there's built-in defense for it. It's just like there are some jokes that are perfect.
Would you set it up by saying Prince Andrew is in the news? Okay, I'll give you another example.
Here's an inappropriate joke that was perfect that we did, like a cinematic Titanic joke, which I still have just a lot of love for because the stars lined up to make the perfect racist joke. So, it's a blaxploitation kung fu movie this is in. So, and there's a bar fight scene, and two of the Chinese characters go into a supply closet. So, and at one point during the fight, they quickly pop out of the supply closet, and the joke was supplies.
Oh my God! Right.
So,
right. And the only reason why it works, in a way, it only works in the same way. But I mean this not in the same way, but if we take the negative side of that, of just Shane Gillis saying, "I don't like," C word, right?
Yeah.
If you take it in the negative way, the only reason why maybe he has no feelings towards Chinese people, but the only reason why he gets away with it is because the people who are listening to him feel similarly to him about that subject. And that's why he might think that's funny to call them the C word when it was never funny to call them the C word.
Right.
Okay, but how did I attach that to the other thing?
I don't know. I was saying mine was perfect.
No. What I'm saying is like, yes, the joke does not take away from the fact that that's not hilarious, right?
Right.
Because you're now saying, I'm wondering if I should reveal the one time with Dave Feldman and I maybe I have revealed it already. Okay, I'll just tell you, but the topic was the news being delivered to Lou Costello that his son was found at the found at the bottom of the pool, dead. So I just went, and this is not on TV. This is just a conversation on the phone. I know there's a problem, but they turned it into an Abbott and Costello routine. So obviously,
who's on the bottom of the pool?
Right. Yeah. I understand that you've had a tragedy. So that nothing could be funnier than that. Nothing could be funnier than that. But you probably wouldn't say, and maybe nobody would ever care about that joke. And also, you're not going to continue doing it in some kind of amber,
Yeah. No, it was just, it's like, it's one of those jokes where visual, situation, and inappropriateness all lines up in a perfect moment where everyone knows the spirit of you couldn't leave that apple on the tree.
No. Well, because it was literally.
Not low hanging. No, it was a high hanging fruit, but it was a choice apple.
You have to stop confusing me with metaphors.
Yeah, I'll start confusing you with similes now.
Which is similar. Is that
it's similar to confusing you with metaphors?
You can't stop me. You can't. I know, right? I keep telling you. When you get upset about anything, it's from the initial wound of the I'm stupid. I'm stupid. All right? So I have this initial wound. I never can forget that I misspelled, that I think I could have won this stupid spelling bee when I was in third grade, but I misspelled the word pasture, spelling it like Louis Pasteur's last name. And worse than that, I probably whined and cried. And the teacher probably said...
No, worse than that, you still are.
Right. But they went to they goes, he just got out of a French class. They even pleaded my case. How pathetic. How pathetic. But the fact that
You had a French class in third grade? This story is falling apart. This story is falling apart by the second.
Then it had to be fourth grade.
Maybe you just misspelled it. Maybe there wasn't some French, some crazy French.
You know that.
And why would they be teaching you about Louis Pasteur in French class?
It's a worse. I'll explain. If you allow me to explain this, even worse excuse. It's in fourth grade where they started to take French, so they wouldn't have been teaching us about Louis Pasteur at all. I would be lying that would have, but I had to have said I was in French class because I was in fourth grade and we had French class.
But you internalized the French spelling from that fourth grade spelling class.
I do not know why young fourth grade Andy
maybe he
got
just
very
misspelled
upset.
it. Maybe just misspelled it. Maybe you were just sounding it out and you spelled it wrong.
Okay, you think I'm going to the wall on the French class excuse?
I think you still are.
I should not have misspelled it, and there's no excuse for it. And get him out of the contest.
How would your life be different if you won that spelling bee?
It's not that life would be different. It's that you remember things that reinforced that you didn't win, or that you're stupid, that you're not smart enough, that you didn't win. And so it keeps coming back to you because in your life at that point, it meant too much. It meant too much. And so you don't remember it unless it was very dramatic. So I probably felt ashamed about getting it wrong, ashamed about coming up with an excuse for it, and ashamed about... Yeah, but you have to realize little kids, when they lie or whatever, or if they don't lie, they're not always lying. And I had just come from what you're saying that isn't right is that in retrospect, I'm not adding details to the story that weren't there. We did have French class, and I would have used it as an excuse of why I misspelled, which is just more shameful about the whole thing.
Right.
And it's all based on that everything about that is shameful to me as a kid. You lied. You were crying about it. The whole thing about it. So, but that's all it is. That's all it is that wound starts from, I think I'm stupid or whatever, or I don't stand up for myself, whatever the thing is, or I'm impotent. I can't win with anything. And then that's where, when you're in therapy, you can go back and realize that when I'm arguing with you, very vociferously, it's probably one of those wounds just being picked at.
Yeah. Well, this one's fun to pick at. I like this one.
Well, I'm fine. I'm down to one session a week. You can't hurt me. I love the way I go. I'm down to one session a week. There's no evidence. If they had the Nazis came back, I could prove I wasn't in.
Am I saying? Yeah, I'm a one banger.
My thing is a one-off now. I like to call it a one-off.
It's a tune-up.
I go in there sometimes and tell and answer her problems.
That's right.
I say, "How are you doing?" And I try to look through the Zoom.
And it actually rolls back onto your rate like a solar panel does with your power bill.
This is the kind of sophisticated comedy that kept you out of most mainstream shows.
It's true. In fact, success of any kind, really.
Don't say that about yourself. I say, when people say, what the fuck happened to him and why is he so angry? I say, you have to realize what he's come through. He had a horrible childhood. He had a terrible, I don't know why. I can't, this is terrible because I can't improv further in this way.
Yeah.
Because it's just a terrible bit.
It didn't have to be. And once again, I'm going to reserve the spot for a good bit.
What do you mean, like, if it comes up? Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Ping pong.
Much like the royal family. I believe that there's slots there available for good jokes.
What's this Prince Andrew thing? What was he? Also at Jeffrey Epstein's castle? Also having sex with underage people? Isn't that hilarious, folks?
I called a British jail. I said, "Do you have Prince Andrew in a can?"
I remember that joke. Not knowing really who Prince Andrew was or Prince Albert was.
Right. Well, who knows?
I didn't know
who knows that Prince Albert is a tobacco brand as a young child?
Yeah, but I did not even know much about the British. I did know what I saw the movie A Christmas
you
Carol.
don't really need to know much about the British once you understand that Prince Albert is a tobacco brand. It could be a Spanish prince, really.
What's the other one in the can? Prince Albert. Who else?
There's no other.
Do you have Prince Albert in the can? Oh, I thought there was another example that we just used. Prince.
Well, I made reference to the Prince Albert in a can with my Prince Andrew in a can joke, is what happened. And then you got into a little thing. It's happening, and now you're hanging up on me because you're a dick.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Well, then I will, because I'm a dick.
It's like Sisyphus all up in here.